It's time to take apart the OnePlus Nord N30 5G. If you need any tools, there are links in the description. We'll need to start off by removing the SIM tray. Here's a better look at that. Next, heat needs to be applied to the back plate to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then a plastic pry tool can be used to pry the back plate off. Here's a better look at the plastic backplate. The glass camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and gently prying them off, so you won't need to take apart the phone to replace those. There are 20 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Now a plastic pry tool needs to be placed in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and ran along the edges to pop off the catches. Now the battery cable can be disconnected, followed by the rest of the cables. The back housing is also made of plastic. There's an antenna flex cable on this side, the NFC antenna is located on the top center, and the LED flash is located next to that. Looking at the other side, we can see numerous antenna flex cables around the border, and the fingerprint sensor is mounted to this side. There's also graphite film to help transfer heat. The white and black coaxial cable on the right side of the board can be disconnected by just popping them off. Here's a look at the 16 megapixel front-facing camera. There's a single Phillips screw holding down the main board. Taking a look at the main board, there's a secondary microphone located on top, a 2 megapixel macro and depth lens, graphite film over the shields to help transfer heat, and rubber gaskets around the connectors. The camera cables can be disconnected by just popping them off. The SIM card and memory card reader is located on the back, the proximity sensor is on the top corner, and there's more graphite film and thermal paste on the back shields to help transfer heat. Once the graphite film has been peeled back, we can see thermal pads on top of the RAM and processor. Here's a better look with the thermal pads removed. To remove the battery, there's a pull pouch provided to help you pry the battery off. And here's a look at the 5000 mAh battery. Here's a better look at the bottom speaker assembly. And there's a rubber gasket and mesh filter over the opening. This flex cable connects the main board to the subboard. Taking a look at the subboard, there are rubber gaskets around the charger port and headphone jack, as well as the connector. The primary microphone is located underneath this shield. Here's a look at the other side. There are rubber gaskets and mesh filters over the microphone openings both from the outside as well as the inside. So if you were to accidentally use your SIM eject tool in the wrong hole, you would damage the outside filter on either side. The vibrator motor is located over here and it's held down with some adhesive. Once the battery adhesive pull pouch has been peeled back, we have a better look at the flex cable for the screen, which is routed through an opening in the mid-frame. So if you needed to replace the screen, you would have to remove the back plate, the screws on the back housing. You would then have to remove the battery cable and the screen cable and pry the battery off, giving you access to the screen cable. Then you would peel off this film over here, heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry the screen off the frame, apply new adhesive and reapply the new screen, making sure you run the flex cable back through the opening in the mid-frame, and reassemble the phone. Once this film has been peeled back, we have a better look at the copper heat pipe which runs underneath the battery and the motherboard. The primary 108 megapixel camera is located over here, and it's held on with some adhesive. The main camera has EIS, which is electronic image stabilization, but does not have OIS, which is optical image stabilization, which is basically hardware image stabilization versus the software. The top earpiece speaker is held on with some adhesive as well, and the same goes for the flex cables for the volume keys and power button. So if you need to replace those, you'd have to just gently peel them off. As for the repairability score on this phone, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to reassemble the device. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the backplate. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.